Give us a second. I'm connecting the streaming software. We're live. Okay, great. Looks like we're live on the old Facebook. I'm gonna tweet it. Do 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 do. Boom 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 boom. Okay, great. I love it. I'm live on YouTube. How cool is technology, you guys? Great. So thanks for joining. Join me live on YouTube to learn about the Valsalva Squeeze. Okay. And my story. Cool. Great. Post. Perfect. All right, kids. All right, kiddos and Filcos. Looks good on our end. Awesome. Hey, good to see you, Sarah. Good to see you, Amy. Thanks for joining. Thanks for everybody for showing up today on a Sunday. And I've been going live consistently, which is pretty cool, thanks to technology. Okay, so what are we going to do today? It's called the Valsalva Squeeze, also known as a Valsalva maneuver. Either way works. I'm not entirely sure why it's called a Valsalva. It sounds Indian or something like that. Like, I don't really know what the term comes from exactly. But I think it's like an Indian breathing technique, basically, from like yoga. That's my guess. But we don't have to know the history to understand what it's about. Now, how I initially learned how to do the Valsalva Squeeze was from doing Wim Hof breathing. If you don't know Wim Hof, I would highly recommend that you Google some Wim Hof breathing techniques. That would be Wim Hof. Oops, I'm gonna try to type that into the chat here. Wim Hof breathing is where that comes from. And Wim Hof breathing is fantastic for stimulating your vagus nerve. So yes, you got it, Sarah. Thank you. You got me. You got me there. So how Wim Hof breathing works, why it is so effective, is because it's a combination of like a lot of deep breathing. Then it's combined with a long exhale, like an exhale and a hold, combined with a short inhale with a Valsalva squeeze. The most ideal way to do Wim Hof breathing is to end it with a big, huge inhale and a squeeze of all that air in your body. So we're going to do just the Valsalva squeeze part minus all the Wim Hof stuff. Wim Hof does what's called tumo breathing, or breath of fire is what that's called. And it's not something Wim Hof created. It's something that has been around for thousands of years. Tumo breath, they would do it in the Nepalese mountains to create inner fire. I think it's also called inner fire breath or meditation. So that's tumo. T-U-M-M-O is tumo. So Valsalva squeeze is something else. Now, I'll show you what it looks like. I'll do it with you. And if I do it good enough, what could happen is that I actually pass out. So there's a slim chance that if I do this so good today, that I might actually pass out from over-oxygenation, and I might actually induce what's called a vasovagal response, which means that the blood pressure in my head will drop so low that I'll have hypooxygenation or hyperoxygenation, and I might pass out. So you might see my head actually go like that. So that might happen. That's possible, and that is possible anytime you're doing this kind of a breathing thing. So just fair warning, don't do this while you're driving. If you're driving a car, just listen to me, because, I know you like my voice, and it's something nice to listen to. It's kind of like, ooh, this guy's got he's got that spunky voice. He's got that kind of that West Coast vibe. He's got that radio announcer voice. He could be on the radio or something like that. So I like listening to him when he's just talking. But if you are driving, then please do not do the actual Valsalva squeeze, because you might pass out and crash. Don't operate any heavy machinery. I know we have a lot of fans over in the Midwest, and you're probably on your tractor trailer right now, on your John Deere, driving your heavy combine machinery. So please also I don't know what you're going to crash into. You might crash into more, wheat or corn, but just don't do it, okay? Don't do it wherever you are. So if you're doing something like that requires attention and stuff, don't do the Valsalva squeeze. Please be sitting down, and also be in a position where, I mean, don't be standing either. Be sitting. Be somewhere where if your head happened to fall down, you could, fall back and go like that, and take a end of the day nap, a Memorial Sunday nap, because that could happen. All right. So now that we got the disclaimer out of the way, let's do this. Okay. So basically, the Valsalva is where you're gonna take a deep breath in. And it's gonna be kind of like a 2-breath thing. I'm gonna do some modifications here to the breathing technique. Okay. So you're going to take a deep breath in like this through your mouth. We don't need to go through the nose. We're just trying to get air into our lungs really quickly, and then take another extra sip at the top. We know that from Andrew Huberman has popularized this idea of, so big breath in, and then you take an extra sip at the top. Okay. So that's how you get the air in. Now I'm going to, exhale again. I'm just going to teach you in sections and chunks here. So just exhale again. And return to normal breathing, okay? But when you do that big inhale, you're going to take that big inhale in, taking as much air as you think you can possibly get, and then you're going to take another extra sip in on the top, okay? That's going to really fill up your lungs, okay? Now exhale again. Okay, so we're not going to go into the Valsalva yet. Now, theoretically, when your lungs are completely full of all that air, then what you're going to do is you're going to hold your breath in, and then what you're going to essentially try to do is pretend as if you're trying to blow that air out, like as if there's a couple ways that people kind of show this. One way, I think, is what a clown would do, okay? Somebody who's a clown. I'm not naming any other influencers on YouTube in particular, but they're going to have you blow into a balloon, like a clown would do, okay? But some of the more medical-oriented people will have you blow into what's called a syringe, like a large 30, 40 cc syringe. And you have to take the plunger out a little bit. It's more of a medical, people who are more in the medical field, not in the clowning field, but, to each his own, right? Because I've heard them say, oh, it looks ridiculous to blow into blowing into a syringe. Oh, yeah, you're blowing into a balloon. I should just get you a little funny hat, paint your nose red, and give you some big shoes, okay? But anyway, so pretend that you're blowing into a syringe, which has that back pressure. And you're going to have that air full, and you're going to go and make your lips really tiny. And honestly, these things are just props, okay? We are live, Barb. We are so live right now. LOL. Yes. Good to see you. So, yes, we are live, not a replay. You are here. So, what you're going to, here's the secret. The whole thing with a balloon or with a syringe or any of this other clown gear is that you don't really technically need to have a syringe or a balloon or any other piece of plastic in your mouth, okay? You don't also need a sucker like a baby does, okay? Those are all just props. What you can really do is you can just kind of take your fingers and pretend you've got like a straw. And you're going to take your lips and make them really tight, and you're going to blow out air very slowly from your mouth like this. Can you hear how there's still air coming out from my lips? I'm just kind of squeezing my lips together like this. You see that? Okay. No syringe, no balloons. We don't have to have an East Coast, West Coast battle about who's better. If it's a balloon, if it's a syringe, clowns versus doctors. I mean, come on. Let's be honest here. Okay. So let me restate the process. You're going to take that big first deep breath in for a Valsalva squeeze. Now at the top, then when you think you have enough air, you're actually going to take another sip of air, like you can always fit a little bit more air into your lungs if you take that extra sip. And we know that from Andrew Huberman, who's the first guy in the history of the entire dang planet who told people that you can take a deep breath in and then take another sip of air. Holy cow. Oh my God. And then I'm the one who told you it doesn't have to be a syringe or a balloon, that you have to, once you have that big thing of air, so let's pretend we have big lungs full of air with that extra Andrew Huberman extra sip of air. And then you're going to go, and you're going to squeeze all that air out of your mouth, like, and you can close your eyes and whatever, you look weird like I'm looking, just like, who gives a shit? I don't care, okay? This is not a beauty contest, all right? And you're going to just like take all that pressure from your lungs and squeeze it out. And you want to make sure that the time it takes to blow that air out takes 15 full seconds. So even as I've demonstrated, I might have actually blown out too much air. I might have blown out too much air too fast. So I might actually want to hold my lips a little bit tighter, like this, I might even take my fingers like this and put them across my lips like this. Like I'm trying to do that whistle, but I don't want to let any air out. So I'm going to take my fingers like this, and it's going to sound like this. There's so little air. Oh my God. And I feel it. Here we go. I'm feeling a little dizzy from doing that. Okay. So I just got that pressure. I got that pressure just right so that I'm not blowing out all of the air. I've got a big full set of lungs. I'm just taking my fingers together. You know, like in China, they rub their fingers together for good luck. They go like this. I think they go like, I don't know how it goes. But they do this thing with their fingers. It's kind of funny. Anyway, you'll see that in pictures. They do it in Asia and China. Anyway, you're going to take your fingers like this. You're going to put them to your mouth or your lips. No balloon needed, no syringe. And you're just going to go. And blow out really slowly. Holy cow. Okay, I'm feeling. Okay, I got to lean back for a second. Oh, God. Okay, that feels great, guys. That feels really freaking good. So that's how we do it, okay? Now, when you do that, your vagus nerve is getting actually hugged by your diaphragm and by your lungs. And I'm telling you, if you haven't done this yet with me, it's going to feel really freaking good. But as I warned you, we're going to do this in give me about 15 seconds to just give another disclaimer for those who missed it at the beginning. Do not do this while driving a car, while standing up, walking in water, or operating heavy machinery, okay? And if you're already on drugs or drunk or anything like that, I probably would also recommend that you also don't do this thing that we're about to do, okay? So there's my 15 seconds of disclaimer. Now here we're officially going to do it, okay? So remember, it's going to be one big, huge breath in from our mouth, and then an extra little sip. And then you're going to take your fingers, you're going to put them against your lips like this and blow against the pressure. So only a little bit of air comes out. You should feel all that pressure from your lungs is pushing the air out right at your lips. And there should be a little tiny bit of air coming out. And you should start to feel within about 5 seconds, almost like a dizzy feeling, okay? Like you're like, oh my goodness. And I want you to just okay, look, if you're in a safe position to do so, I want you to just keep on blowing for the full 15 seconds. If you're not able to lay your head back down or anything like that, then just stop as soon as you feel something. If this is your first time, just stop as soon as you feel anything in your body, okay? Are we fair? If you're with me, just type a yes in the chat or a number 1 or something like that, just so I know y'all are with me, that we have an agreement that you're not going to do anything stupid here, okay? I just need to hear it from at least one of you that you guys are with me. At least, we're all kind of get a little bit Vegas high today. And I know I have some some friends doing it with me, right? We could use a little friends to get by, as they say. Okay, Lori, we got a 1 in the chat. Coming to us from Las Vegas. I'm coming to you from Vegas Nerve. That's awesome. Okay, yeah. Barb, totally okay for you to do. Absolutely. Highly recommend. Okay. So, all right. We've built up enough anticipation for this. Jeez. Okay, so ready? Also on YouTube, you guys ready? Okay, good. YouTube, Facebook, let's do this. So get your fingers ready. I'm going to use my right hand. You can use your left hand, whatever you want. Okay? So fingers together, just like that. Okay? So in 3, 2, 1, deep breath, then a sip. 3, 2, 1, go. And then extra sip. Now breathe. Oh my God. Okay, now my face is thoroughly red. You can see my lips got white afterwards. Okay. Okay, so I definitely feel it. Okay, so I feel like, wow, okay, that's kind of nice. Now, just so you all know, if you felt something, what you're feeling is that your vagus nerve is rushing with activity right now from doing that. So if you feel like nice and kind of high and like, ooh, that feels kind of interesting, I want you to type like, how do you feel? Like, does that feel good? Did you get it? Or like, did you not get it? Like you might type like, felt good or didn't feel, or type something like that in the chat so we can kind of see some feedback. Now, okay, so Sarah feels more relaxed from doing that. That's great. Who else? You know, some of you at least had to have done it. I hope the people who are like Lori and Barbara, just like, they're like, you know, they're like, they got it, right? No, okay, so Lori, you didn't get it. All right. So we'll do it. Okay, no, that's fine. Like, good. Guys, look, it's a skill set. I promise you. This is not like a, if you didn't get it your first time, what a loser. No, come on. You know I'm not like that, right? No, it's okay, Barb. You don't need to apologize to me. This is for your benefit. I can do this anytime. Okay, so that's why we're doing a video. This is like a video training where we're getting some feedback. I'll give you some different things that we can look at and work on to try and get better, okay? So I want to explain a couple of the areas of your body that you're using to engage to squeeze, okay? So you're really trying to build up a lot of pressure in your muscles around your ribs, okay? And you're trying to like, you know, I'm going to show you something. I'm going to take a step back. So what I want you to look at is my ribs, kind of my rib cage as it expands with air, and then what happens to it as I start to push out that air. So watch this. Watch this. Watch, okay? So lungs are full of air, and then I'm going to squeeze. Okay? You see how I pushed in like this? Like this. I'm using my everything in my ability to try and squeeze that air out like out of my mouth, okay? Yeah, this is the area I have the deepest pain and pressure. And, you know, honestly, remember, so Barb, okay? So I have a client, her name is Suzanne. Before she started the program, before she started phase 1, the same one you're in, guess what her biggest pain point was? Her neck. Guess what she did? She started doing the red ball exercises. Guess what part of her body that she exercised and she used the muscle contractions that she no longer has any pain in? Think about it. Her neck. So by not using muscles, you create the conditions for pain. So it's very likely that by doing this squeezing thing with these muscles where there is pain, you'll actually be sending energy to those muscles. So I really encourage you. I think this is the thing that you need to do. You need to get your brain to connect with these muscles. Otherwise, you're just going to have pain for, until you do. Again, if you strengthen the muscles in your neck, you reduce the pain and you can eliminate the pain. This is a practice of engaging these core rib cage muscles to squeeze the lung, to push that air up. And really, you're partially pushing air through your mouth, but what you're also really doing too is you're pushing a bunch of blood up and into your head. So there's you saw how red my face got, right? I'm pushing air and all that stuff into my head. Now, what I want you to do is generally you are going to want to close your eyes when you do this, okay? Because otherwise your eyes being open, you can put a lot of red blood to your eyes and you can get bloodshot eyes, okay? And if you get pulled over, the police are going to be like, "What are you smoking? What are you smoking, kid?" Anyway, so, okay, let's do it again, okay? So we'll do this for as long as we need until you get it, okay? That's why we're doing this video, right? On a Sunday. Okay, so remember, huge deep breath in, and then an extra sip. On top of that, the Andrew Huberman sip. Then what we're going to do is take our fingers, put them up to our mouth, and so here's the thing. When I was demonstrating it earlier, just before we did the actual practice, the first time I did it, I blew out the air a little bit too fast, and I didn't really get the effect. But when I regulated the air coming out of my mouth more thoroughly, and I slowed it down, so there's only a very tiny bit of air going, but I was really trying to push all that air right through my mouth. My teeth are about this far apart, and my lips are, I'm not going like this. Notice I'm not letting my cheeks blow out, okay? I'm not going like that. I'm just going like that, okay? So my lips are very tight, and I'm letting a very tiny amount of air come out of my lips. Okay, you can kind of see that. Okay, so even doing that just there, I'm even able to get the effect, okay? So let's do it again, okay? So everybody ready? Deep breath out. 3, 2, 1, deep breath in. With a sip at the top. And then out. Squeezing your ribs. Squeezing. Pushing. Oh, okay. Whoa. Okay, now I'm going to lean back. And I was really pushing pressure all over my rib, pushing my ribs in like this, like that kind of thing. Hard to describe, but you got muscles in your rib cage. You guys got to know how to blow air out of your mouth. It's just a technique thing, okay? All right, so I'm going to just recover for a quick second here. How did y'all do? Okay? That's a really good exercise for your ribs, for your diaphragm, for all that kind of stuff. Oh, goodness. I'm definitely getting a little high from all this. Okay, so how'd you guys do? And did anybody feel anything? Yay, nay? Sarah, how'd you do? You felt more relaxed? I definitely felt something there. Barb, did you get anything? Lori, did you get anything? Very dizzy. Okay, good. Barb, that's perfect. Okay, good. Okay, good. So you're getting there. That is an indication of going in the right direction, okay? And that's fine. If you get dizzy, that's that's an exact type of direction that you want to go. Now, as you get better at it, you learn better how to regulate that dizzy effect. So it's not like you're like, "Oh, I feel like this." But what you are getting is that centered rush of endorphins, that blood flowing to your brain, and it's going to clear out all the stale blood in your head and clear that out too. So this stuff is really good for you, really, really good. Okay, good. So awesome, Barb. Awesome, Lori. Now we'll just kind of let ourselves return a little bit, but as we stack, you can get an even better effect as you get more of that blood flow going. And now your vagus nerve is definitely working on a higher level. Do you guys feel it? I can feel it. I can hear it in my voice, that my voice is changed a little bit from doing this. And remember, like I said the other day, is that when you speak, you're using your vagus nerve. So I've boosted my vagus nerve health, and now I can hear the difference in my voice. I can hear it. I don't know if you can hear it, but compare, the beginning of the video to the end of it. Okay, good. Yes, it is a great exercise. So, anybody else watching? Because I know we have more than just Barb and Lori and Liz, or not Liz, but Sarah. Anybody else who's doing this with me who did not get an effect, just let me know. Just say like no effect, didn't feel it, whatever. We can go over a couple more things. But Barb and Lori and Sarah obviously are getting good at doing this. We are going to do it again for sure. And also I encourage as well people over on YouTube as well is to do this with me. This is a live video. So good. Okay. Okay, so Barb says getting a deep breath is hard for me. Sometimes cough before able to breathe out. That's fine. Again, those are receptors of your vagus nerve. So your vagus nerve is very, hurt and it's in need of help, and that's natural. That goes with the territory. I remember there was a story about a guy. There's a really famous guy. I don't remember his name. I read about him in this book, Unlimited Power by Tony Robbins. It was on one of his books, an audiobook. And this guy was like some multimillionaire. He climbed Mount Everest. He fell down and he broke his spine. Now he's paralyzed from the waist down. And, his whole life was basically thrown upside down, basically. And his wife divorced him. And then he was miserable, but he held through. He kind of stayed positive. He didn't give up. And he got remarried. And then then he taught himself how to fly planes or something like this. And then his plane got into a plane accident. He got paralyzed from the neck down. And then his wife divorced him. But he still maintained that positive attitude, and he regained some function in his fingers. So, and then he was able to actually, again, get remarried a third time and write some inspirational book and lived a really good life. The guy was as happy as can be, even though he was paralyzed from the legs, from the waist down, then from the neck down, and he still was able to, do stuff. So there are people way more limited than we are. Even what, if you can't breathe and you cough when you breathe in, there are people who are way more limited than you, who still find some way to get by and to, again, maintain that positive attitude or whatever that thing. Yeah. So anyway, we will do it one more time in just a few moments. Let me read this other comment from Lori. So this stimulates the vagus nerve. Yes. I missed the beginning as to why we are doing this breath. Yes, we are stimulating the vagus nerve. The way that it works is by pushing all that air out. You're forcing your diaphragm to basically squeeze to hug your vagus nerve right here in the center. And when you squeeze your vagus nerve, it squeezes all that acetylcholine up into your brain and it releases it, giving you almost a high kind of feeling. But it also pushes a lot of oxygen into your brain. And I learned this from a guy named Wim Hof. Wim Hof does Tumo breathing, breath of fire, which is usually, but we're not going to do that part. We're just going to do the Valsalva Squeeze, which he does at the very end of breath of fire or inner fire breath. So that's what we're doing. And yes, this absolutely is what the feeling of really a deep, heavy hitting vagus nerve stimulation session might feel like for some people. Okay. So sounds good. Okay. So I think we're all clear in terms of the methodology. What we're going to do again is do the same thing, okay? So just a real quick refresher for maybe some who may have just joined. If you're just joining, give me 1 minute of your time. I'll make it worth your while. It'll be the best feeling you have all day. So don't click away and go watch some stupid-ass other video on YouTube, because don't be a loser, okay? All right, so here we go. You're going to take a deep breath in, deep into your lungs. Fill up your lungs as high as they can get. Then once you're at your max, as much as you feel like you can go, you're going to take another sip, like you're going to suck in even more air than you think you can even get in. Then what you're going to do is you're going to take your fingers like this, your index finger and your thumb, put them together, and then press them against your closed lips, like you're trying to whistle, but you're actually trying to restrict as much air from flowing out of your mouth as possible. You're going to, with all that big air in your lungs, you're going to try and blow out, and only you should have that kind of a sound being made. Let me do it like here. Like a... Can you kind of hear that sound that I'm making into the microphone? It should be that highly tight of a restriction of air coming from your mouth. And the muscles you should be using are your whole rib cage. You should feel your stomach like contracting, like you're trying to push all of the air out of your body, like it matters, like it's life or death. That air in your lungs is trapped, and you're trying to squeeze it out of your mouth. Your face can get red. You want to close your eyes. Don't let your cheeks blow up. You need to keep your mouth really pursed, like... And your teeth are kind of close together, okay? So that's the method, okay? Even just doing that right there, I feel a little bit of this, like, sensory feeling, okay, in my head. We're trying to get you a little bit high feeling, a little maybe dizzy. And again, if you're driving a car, don't do this. Heavy machinery, you know the drills, right? It's going to make you potentially pass out completely. So if you have anywhere, keep track of where your head can fall if you're going to pass out. Let's just say that, okay? All right, so get ready. Here we go. Round 3. Ready? Breathe in, deepest breath in you can possibly take, and then a sip, okay? And get your fingers ready. Fingers ready for your mouth. Ready? Breathe in. 1, 2, 3, go in. Sip. Mouth. And then exhale and push. Restrict that air even more. Push, push, push. Keep on going. And stop. Okay, good. Oh, okay, now I'm going to lay back a little bit. Oh, goodness. Okay. Woo. All right. So my face definitely is feeling pumped with blood, as you can tell. And I feel really good. Now for this one, I didn't get so dizzy. And I think it was because I let too much air out too quickly. But I was really using my lungs and my rib cage and everything, really pushing all that air out all at the same time, which is absolutely fantastic. So I highly recommend that you do something like that. Okay, so cool. If I haven't lost you, you're not like passed out and sleeping. How did that go? Did you get an effect? Yay or nay? Did you feel something there? You know, again, this is a skill set. You know, if I said, hey, let's go to the basketball court and you're going to try to shoot some hoops, on the first time you do it, you're probably going to miss every single shot. So this is just as much of a skill as anything else. So you learn, you practice, you try, you do it again. And again, you know, we're in this group because we know the vagus nerve is clearly important. The vagus nerve is absolutely an important thing to stimulate. And how cool is it that you can now, at least you know the method of using your breath to induce a Valsalva maneuver squeeze to get that increase in blood to your head. Okay, that's fine, you know? So again, it's a skill set. You get better at it as you go. But yeah, so cool. All right. So anyone else? Anyone else from the chat? We've got more than just Barb and Lori watching. You know, you guys don't have to like be super sneaky and hidden and anonymous. But I'd love to hear from you guys if you have any thoughts on this. But yeah, that's fine. I think I blew out a little bit too fast too. And so we're going to do it again. We're going to do it one more time. I mean, why not? We could probably do it 10 times if we wanted to and really get good at it, right? What is it? Practice makes perfect, right? And I think that this is one of those things that getting good at it is a good idea. There's something good about knowing how to breathe properly. I don't know. And also, can you tell a difference in my voice? I can definitely tell a difference in the quality of my voice, the richness of my voice from doing this, for sure. So there's definitely an effect. And I feel calm. I feel really good. I do feel really good. Not like I felt bad before I did this, but I feel, a little better even. Just like a little more chill, a little bit more relaxed, right? Um, yeah, I'm talkative in person too. Haha. One reason I have to get better to get out more and do so many things. Absolutely. So this will absolutely help you, Barb, for sure. This is, yeah. So yeah, I have, yeah, exactly. You can tell like I have more blood in my face. My voice has changed. It's gotten a lot more rich, more clear. It's got more of that, uh, I would call it like horn like, not horny, but like, if it were a trumpet. It's got like that trumpet sharpness to it now because I did that exercise, that breathing. So good. Okay, so let's do this. Let's do this again. Let's try it again. I'm more than recovered, so I can do it a fourth time. So okay. So again, I think it's just not overthinking it, and it's also about you can modify the technique literally while you're doing it too. So keeping account, like if you do it perfect, you should most likely feel the effect coming on pretty quickly. It shouldn't take like a lot of time for you to gauge if it's right or not. So you should know within the first 2 seconds if you're going to have that effect, but you don't need to have that effect to get there, okay? And then you can keep on, again, it's a 15-second breath exhale. So you're literally just going to keep on exhaling until I tell you to stop. So you don't even have to worry about the time. I have a timer right here on my computer, so I can see exactly how much 15 minutes or 15 seconds is. Can you imagine a 15-minute exhale? We'd be all dead. Okay, so we're going to start in 20 seconds. Okay, so remember, big, huge inhale, another sip, make your fingers push up against it. Remember, it's like you're trying to breathe out of a syringe or into a tight little balloon. Okay, ready? So in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, inhale now. And then a sip in, and then exhale through your fingers. Make sure you restrict the air completely. And stop. Okay, good. Okay. Wow, so you can see how red the face gets if I'm pushing against my lips, right? So that's an increase in blood flow to my brain, to my face, to my body. Now, I had it up until I spoke out loud and I released some of that air. So it really does depend on really truly getting your lungs about as full of air as you possibly can get. If you aren't sucking in the air as much as you can, you're not going to be able to develop enough pressure to be able to get the effect. So that's another thing to keep in mind. We're not just talking like, okay, I breathed in, now I can do it. No, you can't. So as soon as I spoke to say, really keep on pushing because I'll make that sacrifice for you to give you instructions at the expense of my own experience. And that's okay. But I've done this plenty of times, so it's not a big deal. Okay. So on that fourth one, yay or nay? Barb, Lori, did you get an effect? Did you not get an effect? Did you notice, was it a little bit better? Was it a little bit worse? How did you do? Give me some feedback here. I'd love to hear that. I know my face getting super red on camera is like, whoa, that could be embarrassing, but I don't really care. I mean, whatever. It's human nature. It's a body, right? I know there are people on other. Okay, good. So Lori, you did get dizzy. Okay, that's perfect. That's perfect. I definitely got it. And if I wouldn't have said that, if I wouldn't have said restrict your air even further, if I hadn't said that and released some of the air from my lungs, I would have gotten, this was a really good ripping one, this last one, number 4. I would have been like, whoa, really on cloud 9 on that one. Good. Okay, good. So my ribs are so very sore, got a little bit dizzy. Good. Okay, good. So you're stimulating your vagus nerve. You're increasing that vagal nerve kind of endorphin release, That's a really good process. Now, what I would recommend for you two is to try this anytime, so I've had, there was a time where I had like some abdominal pain recently. And one of the things that I'll do typically is I'll do this kind of practice. I'll take a deep breath in and then just squeeze, not even having to push out the air. You just hold the air in and just go, and then oh God. Oh, like that. Okay. So you can do this too. I would highly encourage you guys. Look, you're born. How weird is it that we're born as humans, that Jesus Christ told us that you can heal through your breath, but nobody told us how to do so. We're just like supposed to breathe like, oh, like I get how to breathe normally. Most people don't even know how to breathe, even though it's the most important thing that you do. So I would highly recommend that you take this kind of stuff seriously and learn more about breathing and taking a deep breath in and then holding and squeezing and contracting your lungs. Try that out through the day. Get better at this, right? This is super important. Like if you're in pain, just by breathing the right way and squeezing your vagus nerve, you can eliminate chronic pain for a moment of time. You can be free of chronic pain by breathing in the right way. And it's not just breathing in and out. It's breathing and then pushing, it's really like squeezing in that air in your core and experimenting with if I'm squeezing in my stomach, is it the higher part? There's a lower part, there's a middle part. If I squeeze all of my lungs, if I squeeze my whole rib cage, everything, right? So you want to be better off in terms of understanding what muscles are actually being engaged, because everybody's a little bit different. And why is it so difficult to it's easy for me to do it because when I was a kid, I was an athlete. I was a swimmer. I used to love diving deep into the pool and holding my breath and seeing how long I could hold my breath underwater. And I learned from Wim Hof himself in person back in 2016 how to do the practice. So for me, it's like, okay, that makes sense. I kind of get how to do it. But why is it so difficult even with language, is to teach people how to do this? Like, that is weird that we live in a society where like breath is just this like assumed thing. Like we spend more time teaching people how to write something down on paper than we ever do on how to breathe. And there's a bunch of people breathing shallow. When you listen to people, they're like, yeah, so hi, my name is something, something. And it's like people don't even know how to freaking breathe. It's like really kind of messed up, if I'm being honest with you, okay? So this stuff is super important. You've got a breath for a reason. So I would encourage each and every one of you throughout today and tomorrow and for the next, I'll be back tomorrow again, just so you guys know. I will be live again tomorrow at 5 p.m. I'm probably going to go live every single day for the rest of my life at this point in time. I love it so much. It's so much fun to be here with you, to teach you these things, to have an audience. I'll be like the next Alex Jones of the vagus nerve or something like that. I'll talk about how they're turning the freaking frogs, you know what. So yeah, Barb, I totally hear you. Look, the meds that are causing the shallow breathing, that is partially from the meds, but it's also partially because nobody has encouraged you to breathe properly, right? Totally true. There's absolutely the case. Unless you are taught that your breath can be modified, we just don't do it. This is why Andrew Huberman over on YouTube is so popular. His videos have 3.3 million views. And sometimes it's him talking for 3 straight hours on how to breathe. And people are like, whoa, I didn't know that I could breathe differently. It's like, okay, I'm glad that people are waking up to it. But at the same time, I'm like, oh my God, like, what the fuck is going on? It's kind of weird. So give or take, it's a good, it's a bad, it is what it is. I'm not here to judge, but we can all be better with our breathing, for sure, right? For sure. Even singers have to practice how to consistently breathe out and have controlled breath while they're singing. You can't breathe out too much. You can't breathe out too little when you're singing, especially when you're talking. You have to know when to breathe, how much air to exhale at the right time in order to do it properly. So anyway, let's do it one last time for the road, and then we're going to log off, and that's going to be it for today, and I'll be back tomorrow. But one more time, okay? So ready? We're going to start in 15 seconds. I'm watching the timer here. So get ready to breathe in. I'm going to count down from 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Deep breath in. Sip. And push. Try not pushing out any air this time. And okay, I'm feeling so high right now. Holy shit. Damn, I felt I got really good this time. This is a fantastic feeling. I hope you are all feeling something like what I'm feeling by doing this. It's really, truly amazing. It's like you break through this layer of sensory reality that like encompasses your brain, and it's not a dizzy feeling at all. It's like it feels spiritual in a sense when you do that right. And so you notice that this time I didn't actually breathe a lot out of my mouth. I just kind of like held the air in my mouth this time, and I didn't exhale all of it all at once, okay? So by really controlling that and feeling where the pressure is building up in your body, and again, it's like you are your best feedback loop, right? Because like I can't be in your head understanding what you're feeling and knowing how much pressure. This is all a you kind of thing. I can give you like some generalized instructions, but you got to do this repeatedly and start to figure out like, how does your body work in this way? Just like if you're, again, not, this is going to sound kind of weird, but like for making yourself feel good, there's only so much you can read in a book. There's at some point you just got to do it yourself and be like, oh, that feels good. That doesn't feel good. But this feeling is like explored by all religions, all spiritualities for all of human history. Every religious teacher has mentioned the benefits of breath and getting to know your breath. So on that last one, I think it was the 5th or 6th one we've done today. Did you guys feel anything? Barb, Lori? I mean, this one for me was, I think, the best out of all of them that we've done today. Felt the most controlled. I felt the most like really good. I felt this really good feeling after I did this. So how did y'all do? Let me know in the comments. And then that'll be it for today. But yeah, super stoked. Like very good fun. Rich fun. And also, you got any plans for tomorrow? It's Memorial Day. Dizzy. Okay, good. Barb, you did it. So that's perfect, right? So if you got that feeling of dizziness, you absolutely did get something, right? And then Lori, you said, felt a little nauseous. Yeah, so then you better understand like where to push, when not to push, how much to push, how little to push, what the timing is, and also the repetition. There's also knowing when to take, like we took about 2 minutes, 3 minutes between different sessions, and we returned back to it. So when you're in bed tonight, when you're trying to just calm yourself down, when you want to feel good, if you're feeling like a little bit stressed or you have a headache, this can be a really good thing to do. Sure wish I felt high and good though. But yeah, Barb, like, again, I'm gonna, wow, we have an influx of 11 people all of a sudden. That's great. Sorry you guys missed most of the breathing stuff we did, but we were getting high off of breath. How cool is that? Somebody must have been like, guys, get the fuck in here. This guy's getting high by just breathing. Holy shit. So, yes, sure wish you felt good and high though. You do that through practice. You do that by repeatedly showing up for breathing. Let's do it one more time. I don't know what the hell just happened. Oh, it just notified you? Because we had like 2 people and then now we're at 13. Okay, guys, we're going to do this breathing exercise. Let me explain to you really quick. We're all getting really high. It feels great. So what you're going to do is you're going to take a deep breath in like this, and then you're going to squeeze all of your breath into a concentric ball and push it out of your mouth, like with the tiniest little pursed lips, like you're almost, okay, good. So everybody just got notified. I don't know what happened with Facebook. Thanks, Mark Zuckerberg. Welcome, guys. Hang out for a second. Don't leave. Okay, so you're going to take a deep breath in. We're going to exhale slowly through our mouth. It's called the Valsalva Squeeze. It's going to activate your vagus nerve by squeezing your vagus nerve into your diaphragm. A lot of people ask me, how do I know if my vagus nerve is activated or not? I'm going to teach you how to get there in about 10 seconds max, okay? So ready? Here we go. I'm going to count down. We're going to take a deep breath in, as much breath as you can get, and then even if you're at the top, you're going to go, and then you're going to take another sip, like that, and then you're going to put your fingers on your mouth and just start breathing, trying to push all the air like you're pushing it out of your mouth, but don't let any air actually escape through your fingers, okay? But you're going to pretend like you're breathing out of a syringe, like that. Now your face might get red. You might look a little bit weird, but you're going to start to build this dizzy feeling in your head, and you're just going to keep on pushing and pushing and pushing for 10 seconds. Don't say anything. Don't exhale. Don't look at me. Just do it, okay? Close your eyes and just do it. I'll tell you when to stop, okay? Ready? So here we go. Ready? In 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Breathe in. Then take a sip. Put your fingers here and then push out. But don't exhale. Push. Okay, now relax. If you're getting high, that's fantastic. Lay back down, okay? And you should have felt some kind of a feeling. I definitely feel a feeling from that, okay? So I'm feeling a feeling. All I can tell you is that that came from activating my vagus nerve, pushing a ton of blood up into my head, and also getting acetylcholine, the neurotransmitter of the vagus nerve, to pump massively into my brain. It feels absolutely fantastic. Okay, cool. So Leslie, you got a feeling. She feels a feeling. That's wonderful. Now, see, it's hard to describe the feeling, but it can have, if you get good at this, this can almost have like a religious, spiritual blessing type of energy to it. It can feel really good. Now, we're not just here to get high. We're here to learn the physiology of, when I say something like stimulate your vagus nerve, go more towards the vagus nerve. When we do this deep breathing, did anybody else feel anything? Feel free to put something in the chat. Who else felt something from this? I mean, it's pretty incredible. But yeah, type in the chat. So this is called the Valsalva Squeeze or the Valsalva Maneuver. And it's something that you can do anytime. If you're feeling a little down, if you feel a little anxious, if you feel a little bit of pain, then we can do it. We'll do it one more time. Okay, we're going to do it one more time. Okay, made your head hurt? Yeah, so Andy, you pushed a lot of blood into your head, and you probably started a little bit of a detox, and that can happen if your brain and tissues are full of things that it needs to get rid of. So you can actually induce, because you're pushing so much blood in, you're pumping extra old blood out of your head. So that's part of the process. I actually think that's really good. I remember the first time I did this was at UPW in San Jose at a Tony Robbins event. And we were doing so much jumping and dancing and singing and breathing that my head was excruciatingly painful. But that event was life-changing for me. So if your head hurts, guys, I would highly encourage you not to be like, ooh, it's made me have a boo-boo. This must be bad for me. Okay, don't think like that, okay? Not at all. And I know I'm not saying you guys are. You might be like, yeah, I totally, I'm on board. Why are you picking me out? I'm not picking you out. I'm just saying, I always have to assume that we have multiple different kinds of interpretations here. You can tell I've done this for a lot. It's like I have the heads of 1,000 people all around me. And I'm like, okay, yes, I feel like I'm a schizo. Like, I'm just like, okay. And so in this case, you want to think like this. And in this case, you want to think like this. Because I've done this for so many years. And I always get all the weirdest comments from these people, which I all love you all equally. Yeah, so that made my head ache a little bit that time. That's fine. That's great. Again, since a lot of you missed the first like 50 minutes of this video, what I've told you is that this is a skill set. If I were to take you to the basketball park or the basketball court and give you a basketball and say, okay, try to shoot the hoop, the first couple times, the first probably day or week, you might really just keep on missing and missing and missing. It can take time to get good at this skill. This is a worthwhile skill, I can guarantee you. This is like, if you know anything about Wim Hof breathing, like if you've ever heard the name Wim Hof and be like, why do people rave about Wim Hof breathing so much? It's because of that exact Valsalva squeeze that he does at the end. It's not always just about the breathing thing. He's not doing this like breathing thing just to hyperventilate. It's really just to get you oxygen in your body so that you can do the Valsalva squeeze and have a nice rush to your body and brain. So that's what that's about, okay? So let's do it one more time. Same process. We'll do it in 7 seconds. So ready? Get ready. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Deep breath in. Sip. Now hold and squeeze and push against your mouth. Don't let any air out, but push like you would be. And exhale. You'll find that the less air that you let out, the deeper the effect gets. So the more that you restrict the air coming out of your mouth, the more you'll amplify the effect. If you let more air out, you're going to have less of a chance of getting the nice, good feeling. So keep track. With that time, I almost like closed my lips almost 100% right there. So there was no air going out. And the more I closed my lips, so there was almost no air coming out, but I was still pushing with all that might and pressure against my lips, I could really feel it. You could see it in my face. My face got red. This isn't about getting a red face. It has nothing to do with the effect of it. But you get such a good like head rush from it. Now, just so you guys know, it's not like, oh, you're just killing brain cells or whatever. That's like boomer stuff from the 1980s. Like, you know, if you masturbate, you're going to grow hair on your palms, like, or you're going to go blind. It's like, that's kind of BS. This has nothing to do with like killing brain cells or anything like that. What you're doing is you're squeezing your diaphragm right here in your rib cage to hug your vagus nerve, which runs right through your diaphragm around your esophagus. And by doing that squeezing effect, you're actually activating your vagus nerve extremely well. It's shooting acetylcholine all the way up into your brain, and you're getting the effect of acetylcholine, like an acetylcholine high. And then you're also pushing lots of blood up into your brain, and you're exchanging old deoxygenated blood that's been pooled up in your head, and you're squeezing that out through those very tiny little channels out back into your heart to be recirculated. And then that blood goes to your spleen, and your spleen carries deeply, richly oxygenated blood to throw back into the system. And your spleen, when it's activated by acetylcholine, decreases inflammation in your body. So by doing this exact process, you are basically shortcutting all the junk, plastic, electronic tools all over the world, and you're just going right for stimulate my vagus nerve. You know, because Pulsetto Tech selling you this $200 neck dog collar, shock collar, isn't going to tell you that, damn, you could just breathe. You could do the Valsalva squeeze breath and actually get the effect right there without having to, spend $200. You just tune into a live video on YouTube from this crazy guy with a hat. Good. Sherry, I see you felt good. That's fantastic. Tori, can this be done laying down, or should we be sitting up while doing it? I think you can do it in either way. You can do it laying down, not standing up. Always either sitting down in a stationary chair with a headrest behind you. Don't do it on a stool. Don't do it on something that you can fall off of, because you could pass out. Doing it on a couch, doing it on the bed, all that is fine. I would recommend, never do it in a moving vehicle or operating heavy machinery. And then for Amber, can you do this without the mediative breathing first and get the same effects? Unfortunately, Amber, no. Your lungs have to be so full of air. You have to really, and then take that extra little at the top, because without that, there's no pressure that can be exerted on your vagus nerve. You absolutely do have to get that. Now, again, don't take my word for it. Amber, it's your breath. You've got probably, some time later today. If you want to try it yourself and come back to me and be like, you know what? I blew out all the air in my lungs and I still got the effect. Let me know. I mean, that'd be pretty cool. But anytime, I've done this for years. If I don't get that full deep breath of air in, I'm way less likely to get the effect. It's really just a statistical odds thing, If I can fill my lungs up to like 98% capacity and then I do it, it comes on almost instantly. If I only filled my lungs up to like 50% capacity and I still squeezed with twice the force, I'm not likely to get the effect that I'm looking for. Okay. So yeah, the answer, I would say yes. And are you saying mediative breath or meditative breath? I'm not sure what you mean. It's not meditative breath. It's not mediative breath. It's just, you have to take a big, deep, full breath of air and suck it into your lungs. So you can have all that pressure to squeeze that diaphragm and pinch the vagus nerve. You're hugging the vagus nerve and it's activating it. So that's the effect. And that also pushes you. There's videos as well. If you do an ultrasound scan of your jugular in your neck and you do that, you see your jugular go massive. It just expands wide open right next to your vagus nerve. It's really cool. Pumps a ton of blood up into your head and it's really good. Very restorative. So anyway, but yeah, thanks all so much for watching. Super great to have you guys join us so much at the very end of the video. I don't know what happened with Facebook notifying you 50 minutes into the video, but anyway, I think we did it. Everybody good? Everybody learned some stuff? Let's see. Okay, we have some more questions. Ask your questions quick because I'm trying to end this. I'm not trying to go for 2 hours today. Amber asks, so we don't have to do the breathing exercises before to open up the lungs? Yeah, you don't have to do the Wim Hof style stuff before you do the Valsalva. You can just go straight for, and then squeeze and then push. So that's awesome. And then, yeah, you don't have to do any of that breath of fire shit that he does. Although, I don't think it's a bad thing. You can, but you don't have to. Janita asks, how many times per day do you recommend that we do this? I mean, I don't know. Like, I don't do it every day. It really just depends. Like, do you want to feel that effect at some point in time? You'd be like, why do people do drugs? They go, I feel like getting high right now. How many times do you want to get high today? I don't know. That's up to you. That's a personal choice. Some days I go, day is great. I'm feeling good. I don't really need to do anything. So you don't have to do it all the time. Honestly, I don't know how to answer that question. I would just say maybe once per day, 2 times per day. Probably that's all you need. Once in the morning, once in the middle of the day, and once at night. That's probably all you need to do. And just get there. It's all just, you don't have to do it 3 times. You could just, if you can get there once, just do it. Just let's do it again one more time before we go off, so you guys get the effect. Ready? We're gonna do it in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Deep breath in, extra breath in the top, and then hold, push. Don't let any air out of your mouth. And you're just going to push for, 10, 15 seconds tops. Okay. I can definitely feel it. It feels very interesting. Now, the funny thing is the more you do it, you get like more of a nuanced effect. So I've probably done it like 7 times through this whole video. So the 7th time is like, ooh, like I have like more control. I can like ride the effect better. The very first time you do it, it's just kind of like this like raging fire of like what may be considered dizziness, or you might get a headache. But I would recommend you do it a few times in a row to really like ride that effect even more thoroughly. So again, like I said, this is a skill building thing. If I were to take you to a basketball court and say, hey, I want you to shoot a free throw, shoot the hoop, you would probably not get it your first time, or your second or third time, or your first week. So yeah, Michelle, again, you don't feel. Did you feel dizzy though? Did you feel anything from that? Yeah, you guys are super welcome. Super grateful to have you guys join. We will be going live pretty much every day at 5 p.m. from now on. So I'll always be here at 5 p.m. Pacific, and I'll make an announcement and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, anyway, I do actually want to end. I don't want to do another. I did a 2-hour video yesterday too. So I'm just trying to keep this short. But Michelle, keep on doing this, right? No, head hurts a bit. Okay, that's actually probably means that you just need to get that blood flowing again in your head. So I would just encourage you to keep on doing this. Let's plan on this, you guys. Let's do some practice tonight. Come back here tomorrow. It's Memorial Day. Do your barbecue. Don't get too full. We'll come back 5 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. Eastern, whatever. Maybe it's 9. Well, we'll do it at 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific. I'll be back here. Tell me how you do practice tomorrow, okay? Sound good? Awesome. All right, well, everybody, hey, great. Thanks so much for joining. I'm going to end the YouTube stream first, so bye, YouTube. And, yeah, if you guys want to rewatch